is Fiddler's Green on the 16th of September. It looks like Rob Zombie's playing here. This is quite the venue. I have actually worked here quite a bit over the years. It is one of the first venues I started at. I have built a lot of different shows in Denver, but this is a staple. You know, it's not exactly the same as Red Rocks. It's a little bit different type of neighborhood, but there is a lot of work that goes on here. And back over in this area over here, I helped put the Flowbots on stage on a movable stage one year. That was rather fun. We're seeing shows. I actually saw The Cure here about 2 months ago. One of my stage managers telling me that there's about 17,000, yeah, it's a 17,000 people venue. So you can see where it's got like standard seating and then lawn seating for like the grass area. But I do remember the lines being kind of horrendous. I actually helped set up that tent a few months back. And I don't know, they might have to tear it down in a month or two, because this venue only stays open during the summer months, and is a great venue as far as Colorado goes. But it is kind of in a business district as well. But yes, this is the, probably seeing more of me than the theater itself, but yeah, the Belco Theater at the Colorado Convention Center. I'm not sure what the show is, but you can see that there is a line, and that is for the entrance for the Colorado Convention Center. It is still part of the Belco Theater, but yeah, quite the amount of fans here, probably for an anime show or some sort of fan convention. All right, down here in Denver off of 14th Street, this is the Denver Center of Performing Arts Complex. About 20 years ago, but it has one of those overstanding walkway ceilings, and there's actually an opera house here. So yeah, so this is quite the venue, and apparently, I'm not going to say her name, but one of the famous elite political people got kicked out of an event. Got kicked out of Beetlejuice yesterday, or last night. So it's kind of funny that someone famous in politics actually got evicted from the show because they were rude. That's the convention center on the other side. You can actually hear the birds. I'm not sure if that's just actually a speaker playing that or if that's an actual bird, but yeah, so fit through the 17th. Tina Turner the musical. The hotel's called oh, it's the Four Seasons, that's right. So yeah, the Four Seasons Hotel. It is quite the hotel. I have built here before in the past. It is quite the place. Ultimately just corporate AV, but yeah, moved a lot of gear in and out of this place doing corporate events. But they have tons of comedians that come through here at the old Comedy Works. And I've had the pleasure to work for several comedians like Dave Attell, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, so it's quite the place. Joe Rogan, I think, was here one time. And the Comedy Works shows are very fun. This building seems to always be in construction. Maybe it's falling apart or something. So, yeah, unique Denver. All right, this is down in Skyline Park. I actually saw Stevie Wonder play here, or met Stevie Wonder. I think he played the piano on the street for like one song, but there used to be a whole bunch of waterfalls right here, like open waterfalls, but they quickly became showers for the homeless, and skateboarder kids used to sit there and drink all day long. It's still a place for the homeless, as there's many people that still live out here on the street, but the unique part of this place is that there's a clock tower, and at the top of that clock tower is a place where they have shows for like New Year's Eve, Christmas, that type of deal. But there are a lot of like burlesque and I don't know, drag shows, DJ events, weddings. A lot of photography and videos done for weddings, and a lot of my stage friends have done events up there at the very top of the building up there, which is a pretty unique place. On New Year's Eve they'll have an event down here, and this whole place will be packed, and there'll be fireworks, and this kind of clock tower is the center of their downtown event. So this red building across the street here was an old bank, and some of the apartments in there actually still have bank vault doors, which is pretty cool. I've had to do a lot of DoorDash delivery stuff, and back in the day I'd go in there and yeah, you'd have to knock on someone's door, but it was technically a bank vault door. So here in Denver they put an entire lane going up 17th Street for bicycles and scooters, yet nobody uses this lane. They are on the sidewalk versus using the whole entire lane that they set aside. That actually cuts off parking and a lot of the traffic in town. So it's kind of funny that they made this lane, yet no one uses it. This black building that's in front of us right here, that is a Hilton, and I do a lot of corporate event work there at the Hilton sometimes. I've moved a lot of gear in and out of this building. All right, over here at 18th and Welton, we have a building across the street here that used to be a 7-Eleven, but it got inundated with so many homeless people and drugs and bad characters that they just ended up having to shut it down after 10 years. It's not that it didn't do business, but the drugs and the crime that was actually being produced there was crazy. Across the street here we have the Grand Hyatt, other than the Hyatt that is about 3 blocks away, which I showed you in the last video. But yeah, that's another venue where I do a lot of events and shows. And over here on the side, they don't really have a loading dock. Well, they do, but it's down in the ground. So you end up having to dump the truck out on the street and then load all the gear in through an elevator, which is pretty lame. 555 17th Street is another place that's actually connected to the Grand Hyatt across the street, but you end up doing a lot of business meeting and corporate event stuff up on like, I remember doing stuff on the 2nd floor all the way to the 7th floor, but a lot of that gear is way at the top up there, and you'd have to take an elevator and send all that gear down to the other hotel, and it is not fun. Right here we have the Brown Palace Hotel. I've actually done a few events here in the past, mostly like news meeting and corporate events. And across the street from the Brown Palace is Republic Plaza, and that is close to the Sheridan. But here at Republic Plaza, when I was a kid, I used to skateboard up there. Now that building is 55, 56 stories tall, maybe even taller than that, probably 56 stories. But yeah, they had an observation floor up there at one point that was all cement. So when we were kids, we used to sneak up there and skateboard, and the security guards would do everything they could to kick us out. But yeah, that was a fun time growing up here. So Denver is famous for this reddish brown building right here, and that is the cash register building, and you'll see that in a lot of illustrations and photographs of Denver. It is kind of wedged between those two buildings there, but yeah, that top of that building is what they call the cash register building. Now across the street here at this Lombardi building, that is where they used to have Duffy's Irish Pub, which was a staple in Denver for many, many years. I believe my mom was a waitress there at one point. But yeah, we used to come in here and get lunch and drinks, that type of thing. So yeah, it's a cool little spot here that just really doesn't exist. Yeah, Mazda's empanadas here in Denver. They make some of the best empanadas across from the Sheridan, and it is a good place to eat. A lot of good. And back at the Sheridan again to do more corporate AV work. Yay! Another 5-hour mini. More corporate, yeah.